Hey guys, welcome to my channel and to my second English video when I'm also reviewing a book. So today's book is a book that I've recently read and I've been wanting to read for a while. It's by an author that I really like. I've been reading some of his essays here and there, but never a full-on book. So this book is also a collection of essays, but in a book format, so that's cool. And that book is A Moveable Feast by the American author Ernest Hemingway. So now, just to give you a kind of to set the ground for this review, this book has been unachieved when the author died. He was working on bringing the pieces together. He obviously wrote these essays a while ago, like way before, but as he was living in Hawaii at the end of his life, he was actually working on publishing this book, but he died before having a final version. So it's his son and his grandson, as we know from the preface, that actually put this book together and put the essays together and chose the title. So yeah, it was one of his last unachieved works. Now, what is this book about? It is about the years that the author spent in Paris, in France, in the 1920s, when he was living with his first wife and child. So he did live in Paris in the 1920s when he was just a beginner author. He was still doing a lot of work in journalism. He was working for some European reviews and Canadian ones, just like writing articles, but he was just beginning to really write his short stories or his novels. So this book is an exploration of the city of Paris through the eyes of the author. Now, Hemingway really loved Paris. He thought it was a perfect environment for a writer to actually flourish and to actually get work done. He believed, just like Virginia Woolf, in having a space of one owns that is necessary to write in. So he talks about this little hotel he would go and write in. He had like a room in a hotel just for writing, and this coffee shop he would always go to write. And he talks about how important it is to have an actual coffee shop that you always go to and write in. And yeah, so this is the beginning of his career, if we can talk about that. So it's full of really enlightening thing about writing in general. I know that he has a separate book called On Writing, where he literally just shared techniques on writing, but this one also has little hints and little techniques, and he speaks about one of his famous theories, the theory of iceberg, that says that you should never write everything. You just write the surface sentence, the surface thing, and you don't talk about the details. The reader should know about them. So yeah, it has a lot on writing, but mainly it has a lot about Paris. He loved Paris, he loved the details of Paris. We can discover the city through his eyes. I've noticed that he does a lot of walking. Obviously, at that time there wasn't a lot of ways that one can use to get around. He walks a lot, and he literally described the name of les rues, les boulevards, les coins de rue, les églises. It's amazing. We could tell that he really loved Paris in this way that makes one really attentive to details. Like when we really like some place or something, we get really very attentive to details, and we make sure we want to convey these details. So this is exactly what he was doing. It was really nice to discover this Paris of post-World War I. It was absolutely beautiful. It's very nostalgic, and I love me some good city nostalgia, and I love me some good World War things, obviously. Another really nice thing I liked about this book is that it includes many other authors of the time that were also living in Paris. It was like this little hub of authors from all around the world. Everyone was like the place to be if you want to write. So there is mentions and actually stories about Gertrude Stein, or about Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald, James Joyce, and Ezra Pound, John Quinn, Maud Oxford, all of these great authors of this time. He focuses particularly on Scott Fitzgerald because he had this kind of weird relationship with him, and also Scott has this very weird life, as we all know. The author was suicidal, was completely, had dementia and so many other things. So he talks about everything. He talks about the winters he spends in the Austrian Alps. He speaks a little bit about his relationship with his first wife and how they divorced and all of that. It is a movable feast. It's really a nice book, nice story, especially if you like literature and you like authors and you would be interested in seeing how an author, a great author, view the life of another author and how both lives were intertwined. That was amazing. And I have underlined so many things because I really think that Ernest Hemingway as a person has super interesting thoughts. The essays, there are like 18 essays, I think so. I want to give you an exact number. I think it's 18 essays. Okay, now I can find it. Yeah, it's 19 essays. And in every single one there is a story told, but then there is this very flow movement of thoughts, and I thought that was beautiful. That was so interesting. I loved the way he thinks, the simplicity that you can see in his writing, because I was very surprised. Usually when you read these authors, it's a bit challenging because they're just the great authors they are. It's like genius thing about their writing, like for example Scott Fitzgerald or Ezra Pound, and you can't really just understand what they say. But with Ernest Hemingway it was so clear, and I couldn't be more thankful for his theory of iceberg, when you just really put the surface thing and then you leave the reader to its explanation, to its interpretation. That was brilliant, and I love the way he thinks. He did serve in the World War I, and at the time it was really hard to go back to have a normal life after the war. So he has really interesting thoughts, not depressing, very on point. He's this weird introvert, extrovert. He really loves being alone to work and write, but he also has a lot of friends there, many of them from the literature community. Oh, he also talks about the bookstore Shakespeare and Company that was owned at the time by Sylvia Beach. He really talks about, venturing there or the books there. It makes me really want to go there. So yeah, it's great. It's beautiful. I would recommend this book. For me, it was the perfect read. It was a really good read. I cannot wait to get to his non-fiction, because in one of the essays he's talking about writing The Sun Also Rises. So I think I would read this one next, or A Farewell to Arms, which is, I think, it is actually a non-fiction. I mean, I know that it talks a little bit about him serving in World War I, but I think that it's told from a fictive perspective. I'm not sure. So I definitely want to read The Sun Also Rises, his collection of short stories. Yeah, as I say, A Farewell to Arm, The Old Man and the Sea. I was very happy with this guy. I connected with him. It's very personal. These essays are very personal, very easy, very interesting, so many good thoughts. I have so many underlined things. I was reading with the pencil, and I have so many margin thoughts on it. I also have the restored edition, so it has these included sketches of his work, yeah, from the original manuscripts, and some pictures of the author in Paris. This is his first wife, Hailey, and this is Gertrude Stein. She's also a great author of the time. So yeah, beautiful piece. I would highly recommend it. Great essays, very thoughts based, very details based, and they give you really a free highway for thinking. So yeah, that was my review on A Moveable Feast. I hope you guys would give it a try. I would really recommend it. Don't get intimidated by the great name of Hemingway. He's a very down-to-earth author, I would put it this way. And I like it about authors in general. So yes, also tell me on the comments if you would be interested in seeing a video, a vlog video about how I spend my Ramadan here, Ramadan Kareem to all the people that are fasting and that are celebrating. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, and if you are too spending it alone, enjoy the experience. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!